Welcome to everybody joining us. My name is Amy Sessions and I'm the editor and associate publisher of Emirates Woman. In our series In Discussion With, we'll be joined by the industry's leading experts, incredible women of influence, and the global luxury brands who inspire us. Today's guests are Lee Tucker, Senior Vice President of Merchandising, and Maria Valem, Senior Vice President of Sales at David Yurman. Welcome, Lee and Maria. I miss New York. I spent some time in New York with previous companies that I was working with, and it's one of my favorite cities. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit different these days, but it's coming back strong.
It is, yeah.
So welcome. It's so nice to have you with us. Such a fantastic brand, and thank you very much for joining us early in the morning from New York.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure.
I had a couple of questions actually to ask in the beginning, but I guess I wanted to ask you to start with. It's of course such an amazing, magical brand, but for me, I'm always quite selective in terms of the brands I like to work with, and that's for multiple reasons. And I wondered for both of you in your roles, what specifically was it that attracted you to this brand?
Sure, I'll start.
Okay.
I mean, I think the David Yurman company is really unique in the world of luxury. I mean, we are a completely private company. We have no investors. We're still completely run and operated by the family. And they started as artists. So David is a sculptor, Mrs. Yurman is a painter. They still bring that artistic sensibility into the company. So, I mean, they describe this not as a commercial venture, but as an art project, which really sums up their approach to business. They're really more concerned about that artistic point of view. It really is their motivating force to get the product perfect, to really speak to the client, to tell their story through these, this very artistic lens. And that's very special. That doesn't really exist in the world of luxury. And I think it creates this entrepreneurial spirit within the company that's very inspiring to be around. There's a lot of runway for us to take risks, to try new things, to be sort of mavericks in the space. We do jewelry in all types of materials, all types of gemstones. So we're always looking for something that's like unique and different and very artistic at its root.
Amazing.
Exactly. I think I echo everything that Lee says, but I've been with the company for 20 years now, so it seems like a lifetime. But I was very drawn to this incredible family mentality, and that it's rooted in art, that it's not just it's just not sales. It's about the collections, it's about the customer. There's always the intent, the customer is at the other end. And what would the customer say, and what would they react to? To be part of something that's been such an incredible ride, to see the company evolve and become this global brand that we are today, is right remarkable. When I started with the company, we had one store on Madison Avenue. Wow. And it's really to see what's happened. And to Lee's point is that the Mr. and Mrs. Yurman and their son have they empower the employees, they empower their executives to be entrepreneurial, to be motivated with their own thoughts. And it makes it really special to be part of something so incredible. It's just been such a great ride.
Yeah. I can imagine hearing both of you speak then that what really attracted you in the beginning is really what makes people stay.
Absolutely.
And part of that for me is, as you go through your career, you look also, culture becomes very important, company culture. So right. You mentioned, to your point about being mavericks, to be able to explore an entrepreneurial spirit within a company, actually, without having to perhaps go out on your own. To be an entrepreneur within the kind of confines of this beautiful family business, I think is an amazing thing. I wanted to also ask you about really the core DNA of the company, and you answered a couple of those points, but in terms of like values towards the customer, in terms of sourcing materials, are there any core values that you kind of champion as a company? Because I've also worked at previous companies where we really had a set of 5 values, and I have to say I haven't forgotten them since I was there for years, and I have not forgotten these. So I don't know if this is something that David Yurman has, or it's more a feeling.
Yeah, for us, it's the core. It's always to the core of who the customer is first. Customer, customer, customer. Who is that customer? What would they desire? And how do we please? And how do we continue to speak to them in a very honest way? And I think that the value of the customer, family, being able to really engage in life's exceptional moments. Because, you know, gifting something so precious as a piece of jewelry, it's an intimate expression of love. And that is definitely one of the major cores of our brand. Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think that there's, just on that last point, I think there's something really remarkable about working in an industry where your job is essentially to make and sell things of beauty and to sell them to people who are coming in looking to celebrate or to mark something very important in their lives. We like to bring that spirit into our stores and really engage with the customer on that level, because it is an important moment in most people's lives when they're buying a piece of jewelry, and it's also a time when they will look down at that piece and they'll remember that emotion or that reason that they came into the store to buy something, and it has that sort of emotional significance, which we end up being a part of people's lives. Like, you know, we meet people that bought jewelry in the 80s or the 90s, and they will say to us, you know, I bought this because my daughter gave birth and I needed to, you know, I wanted something that I could use to remember that. And, you know, that piece gets passed down. Like, that whole story of how that piece of jewelry carries so much emotional weight is a beautiful thing.
It's quite interesting over the 20 years that I referred to, is that I've worked with, you know, the lady that bought her first piece and how it became generational.
Yeah.
How she bought the first piece for herself, how she handed it down to her daughter, and then you see the mother and the daughter coming down and they're buying something for their granddaughter. Yeah. So it's really the generational part of it that's so remarkable within our brand.
And I guess that's also why it's so, you know, important that every customer is special and every customer is looked after, because you're actually dealing with the heritage of before and after in that family.
Right.
Family, how items are passed down. So I have the feeling that the caregiving is, you know, the full focus, which I think is amazing. I also love this idea with, you know, with the brand that, you know, every moment you want that whole experience. If you're buying somebody to gift or you're treating yourself for a special occasion, I think you want to remember the whole experience. And I definitely think something the last year has taught us all is that, you know, when we are not constantly able to have all these bombarding experiences all the time, you really, you know, maybe your mind harks back to the experiences that you have had that you've really enjoyed. So it actually is something that it just keeps giving, you know, you remember it and you remember those special moments. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a very good point. I think that we are more and more, especially this last year, more appreciative of the things that we really experienced in our life that meant a lot, and we kind of always have just moved on. And you recall that and you think, gosh, I should have appreciated that a little bit longer, why I had it.
Yeah. And more sympathy, I think, and empathy for what everybody's going through. And I think that, you know, as a family business, being able to connect with other families and play a role in their story, you know, it's a unique opportunity for us to connect again, and through that lens of family. And this past year, really, I think all of us feel more connected to our families because either we can't be with them or we've been with them 24/7. So, but in either way, we're certainly feeling that tug and how important those sort of relationships are.
Absolutely.
I also feel that particularly in the Middle East here, and it seems to be a trend that's reflecting or has a ripple effect globally. A lot of my friends are investing more into the pieces that last a lifetime. I know I was talking to an ex-colleague of mine, she's a beauty director, and she was saying, you know, in terms of sales, they've seen a huge increase in skincare and fine jewelry. Things that you really want to take care of, that they're going to have forever, your skin, and these beautiful things they can pass down. So I don't know if that's also a trend. Have you seen any different buying trends in terms of global sales, or have you seen in the Middle East, particularly with the client here, like anything different?
Yes. I mean, I think that what you said is very true. I think people have searched for things that have value and have meaning and they can connect to. And I think jewelry, in many ways, you know, embodies that. So we've been very fortunate to have a reasonably strong business throughout this period. And like you're saying about things with lasting value, We have seen people go back to some of our pillar collections, our core design DNA, because you're buying into that sense of value that is going to last the test of time. It's beyond just a trend or a fashion moment. It's iconic, it's everlasting, it's timeless. For us, our cable, Maria's wearing this gorgeous cable bracelet here in the center, but that's our foundation piece. It built the brand. It was, it is our little black dress, our Chanel jacket. That is it's David Yurman in one piece summarized, and we've seen that really, that look has become more and more important. Even in the Middle East, we're seeing just this gravitational pull towards our cable jewelry. It may be in a different scale, it may be more 18 karat gold, it may have different types of stones on it. In the Middle East, we tend to sell emeralds very well, diamonds very well, which we're thrilled about because they're two of our favorite stones. But that cable form, everybody can wear it. Everybody looks fantastically chic in it.
And here in the U.S., talking to a lot of our partners that we do business with, it's really about the keyboard up. People are spending so much time in front of their computer with Zoom and Teams and all of these things. So they really want to make sure that that necklace, that bold statement, that earring, it's, as you said, that dermatology and skincare is very important. We're having a huge resurgence in plastic surgery as well because people are looking at themselves all day long and they're like, oh, ooh. But it's really about that impression that you're giving from that keyboard up. And our earrings, our number one collection has always been our number one category has always been our bracelet, but we're seeing a really big resurgence in our earrings and anything drop that they can express themselves with. And some of us are in front of a laptop 8 hours a day, and they're having meetings, and that's all the interaction. You don't need to wear a high heel anymore, but you want to make sure that from here up you're looking really beautiful and presentable. So we're really seeing a lot of styling around the neck and the earring as well.
Yeah, for me, my team were always laughing because when we were working from home, I was still wearing a blazer. And because you need something to put you in that mode, right? And I think
right.
Completely true. You need something, and then you have your on switch. So it's super interesting. I wanted to ask you because for me, it's such an amazing business creatively, as you say. It's driven from a passion for art. I wanted, as somebody for me who likes to sit with one foot in the commercial and the creative world, how does it work at David Yurman in terms of, how do you balance the creative and the commercial roles within that company? Because I think it can be a tricky balance. And from what I've seen, there are always ups and downs, but it's interesting to me how people manage to balance that so successfully in a business that is scaling and lasting the test of time.
The philosophy here is, I would say that if the creative is right, if the way that we show up to the consumer is right, if the way that our product is designed is right, the business follows. The creative disciplines are always top of mind. The commercial disciplines are a benefit that come out of that creative exercise. Again, they think about this as an art project, right? So we want our customer to see their lifestyle reflected. We don't want her just to see something expensive. We want her to see something that inspires her to draw out her unique style.
It's a dialogue. It's always an open dialogue. You go to many design houses and you say design is, king, and they don't want to hear from commercial. It's just like, this is what we're going to give you and this is what you're going to sell. The beauty of this, and I think this is really the magic of this, is that it's an open dialogue, that there's a discussion. I, as head of sales, have such an open door to the Yurmans, to Lee and his team about this is what's happening, this is not working, this is what we would like, we think the customer would really react to. You don't see that. You don't see that in many houses at all. And I think that that's truly the magic of what's worked so well, that Mr. and Mrs. Yurman have always been open to listen. They ask questions. They want to know. They want to know from the retailer. They want to know from our stores. They want to know from the associate who's on the front lines. Because we can design and design and design, and if you don't have that feedback from the front lines of the people that are standing in front of the consumer, we're just kind of chasing our own tails. So that really, I think, is the true magic of what's worked so well at David Yurman.
I absolutely agree. I think it's super interesting in terms of having a company where you are, where clients feel comfortable enough to actually give that feedback. I think they somehow probably sense this family business where they are part of the family, because only when you have a great relationship with these clients are they so honest, or do they request things. I previously worked also in personal shopping for some time, and it was one of the most valuable experiences of my life, because you really understand what hunger is happening from those clients. And it's very interesting to see the changes in that. I don't know if you regionally, you mentioned diamonds and emeralds and different kind of colorways. The clients here often prefer, I think, rose gold and yellow gold a lot of the time. Do you ever design specifically for a region, and have you done bespoke pieces for clients in certain regions?
You'd think that in jewelry, everything sort of behaves the same, but it really doesn't. I mean, you're talking about the Middle East specifically, and we see such a different trend. The clients there tend to like a more discrete scale, so finer scale products in 18 karat gold. And we have made exclusive product for the Middle East. We also do a lot of bespoke pieces for we call them VICs, our very important clients. It's a large part of our business, commission-based products for people that want very unique things. So we're always open to that. It's always a challenge that the Yurmans relish. The Middle East is significantly different than the United States, but even within our country, I mean,
down to the stone color, we know that that there is, a big propensity for, black onyx in Texas region, but when you go to Florida, you're seeing turquoise, and you want lighter stones, and you want things that are flowing. So when we when we merchandise our stores, we look at all of these attributes in order to inform us how and what the customer is wearing and what they're calling for. So it's really interesting from the scale, as Lee mentioned, to the metal, to the stone, to the length. It's really to that detail that we look at how our stores behave.
In our store in Dubai at Bloomingdale's, their #1 collection is our pave pinky rings. So it's a fully encrusted pave traditional signet ring, but executed in all these vivid colors. The only other places where that's a #1 collection are in Los Angeles and here actually in Soho, where we are right now.
I also think it's interesting when you start to spot buying preferences, and then something out of the ordinary pops up in a location you don't expect, and then you realize that one client is holidaying there or has moved there for
Right.
I wanted to ask you, because I mean, luxury brands, obviously they deal with what I would call a lot of women of influence in this region. So that doesn't necessarily mean people who are known in terms of the social media world. Sometimes they have quite closed social media, and it's more within their circles, which I think is what your bespoke kind of side of the business speaks to. But when it comes to social media, how do you, as a long-standing business, how do you approach that, and which platform have you found has been more useful for you?
Social media is so important right now. I mean, it really is the way that we can directly engage our customer on a daily, if not hourly basis. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but you really can have a dialogue with a customer in a way that you typically can't unless you're standing in the store that particular day. We tend to favor Instagram as a company. Just because, again, we're so visual and creative, it's just so easy for us to understand that platform because it is so visually native. Facebook tends to be the platform that performs best for us in terms of our following size and generating sales, but we always think Instagram first, just because we think in terms of those pictures, those videos.
Can you tell us a little bit about your latest collection I know you're launching?
This is actually just launched. We're so excited about this. So what I'm wearing, this is 18 karat gold Lexington chain, which is handmade, hand-carved links. And I've layered on these beautiful discs, which I have here in pave in 18 karat gold, and then this beautiful black onyx that's framed in a carved cable motif, and then this lovely link with diamonds as well. So this is my own self-expression, because it's 3 pieces that I put together to create my own look.
And it's so this is part of our new collection called Elements. So this is just launching in all of our global stores this month, which we're so excited about. As you can tell from our backdrop, we're celebrating New York. It is where we are I would say most inspired by street style, what's going on from architectural perspective and arts perspective. You know, the Yurmans are very connected to this city's cultural milieu. So like Maria said, this is our Lexington chain named after Lexington Avenue, which houses a lot of the Art Deco masterpieces of architecture in New York City. So this chain has a bit of a deco flair. It has that sort of rectilinear shape. And then the elements that are the discs that she was talking about were designed actually during the pandemic. The Yurmans designed them. They were drawn to the circular form because it is such a powerful symbol of unity. You know, hopefully that era is starting to be in the rearview mirror, and now we can just celebrate how beautiful these look because they do make such a bold, impactful statement. I think it really is a great collection. We're so excited to see what people say.
It looks amazing. What I like about it is exactly as to Maria's point was that you can kind of make it bespoke yourself, you know, without commissioning a piece from scratch. Right. You can make it bespoke, and I also think that in terms of, you know, someone who really loves jewelry but perhaps hasn't you know, hasn't experienced David Yurman yet, you also have those you know, entry pieces perhaps where you would go and buy the pinky ring, or you would go and buy that first, you know, signature bracelet, and then you can build on your collection. If you had to recommend one piece as a gift or somebody to start, would it be those two pieces?
Well, you could never go wrong with a cable bracelet of David Yurman, no matter if it's a gift, a self-purchase, or the first ring. You could never go wrong. Absolutely could never go wrong. I mean, if it's a gift, you've now won the woman over for life. But the beauty of cable, if you want it in yellow metal or white metal or whatever that may be, or with, you know, with a stone at the end, is that you can build upon it. And I think that is the most, it gives you this license for personal expression that is so important, especially for a woman who's unsure of how many she should wear, or am I wearing too much, you know, so forth, is that you can build. I mean, you buy one, you end up with 10. I mean, literally, it's an arm, and it's an arm of self-expression. So if I was ever going to, and people ask me all the time, if I'm buying my first, exactly this question, start with a bracelet. And build upon that and make it, give yourself permission to give yourself personal style without feeling judged. And I think that is really important, and that's really kind of the uniqueness of our cable bracelet.
I totally agree.
I can't go with Maria. She's a bad influence.
Yeah, I've been told that before. This is not the first time.
You're the best kind of friend.
Exactly.
It's been such a pleasure to sit with you today. Thank you so much, and we very much hope that you visit the Middle East very soon. Whenever I also hope I'm going to come to New York. So it's been wonderful to have you with us, and we very much look forward to seeing the collection in person.
It's been a great pleasure. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lynn Maria. Thank you.